So the question that we are asking this morning is, if you are in public service today, are you there because you're qualified to be in office, or it's because you have connections to be in that office? That's the big question. There's a report here that is indicating that in this country we did score 32 out of 100 in the corruption index, meaning we have been placed in the lower half globally, and reinforcing concerns that public institutions remain vulnerable to corruption and weak oversight. That is where we stand as a country in our corruption index, is what this report says. And then it goes on to say, if you look at our most visible examples where this begins, it is appointments in public office for unqualified personnel, people who don't deserve to be in these offices. Let's take a look at what Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution says. It indicates that public service must be guided by professionalism, merit-based appointments, and efficient use of public resources. That's what Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution states. Yeah. But if you look at the government audits, especially the latest one by the Auditor General, it does indicate that there's political patronage and corruption that undermine professional standards in public institutions. It also does indicate that if you look at some of the numbers that we're going to read for you here this morning, it does indicate that more than 1,000 public servants out of the 29,000 we do know are not qualified to hold those positions. It goes further to indicate that they did use, number one, connections to get promotions that they didn't deserve, fake papers to get salary increments and those promotions as well. But then even we look at the presidential appointments, does it begin from there? Well, we question the credibility of some of the appointments that we see in public office. Are they getting their script from some of the appointments that we've seen in top positions across the country? Some of the cabinet secretary positions that we do know of. Do we have individuals who are qualified to hold those positions? Permanent secretary positions that we do know of. Do we have individuals that are qualified to hold those positions so that they align themselves with Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution? As we say, or as the famous saying goes, in Kenya, connections ni important kuliko papers. That as long as you know somebody who can give you a link to a particular job, you can get it. You don't have to be qualified. That is the outlook of the Kenyan public service. This is the way to go. Talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. We talk about that this morning. Thank you very much for beginning your day with us right here at Look Up TV on this 17th of March 2026. There's a lot that we're going to delve into this morning. This is part of that conversation that we're going to get into. You can talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Our WhatsApp lines are right there on your screen. As we go on with this broadcast, we shall be reading and reviewing some of your contributions as we go on with our program this morning. As usual then, let's look at what you're waking up to this morning on your newspapers. And we're going to start with the Daily Nation. Let's have a look at the main headline here. It is talking about a 2.1 billion schools bursary scandal And it's talking about how some constituencies were unable to account for 2.1 billion shillings in school bursary awards for 1 year following an audit that found the scheme riddled with irregularities. The audit also exposed favoritism and political patronage in the allocation of the funds, locking out bright but needy students. That story has been covered on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. And this is some of the quotes that we have here. I'll just sample a couple of them because you're going to get this paper and have a look at it. John Carey, the Great South, 21 students had overpayments ranging from 5,000 to 47,000. That's how they're taking the money. So you pay out, yes, but then you overpay. Let's look at this. Alpha Miruka, Bomachoge Chache, had 671 cases of multiple awards during the period under review. So you award the same students over and over again just to hide where this money is going to. This is Kenneth Kazungu, all right, who had 516 cases of multiple award of bursaries and scholarships during the audit period. You can see the trend. This is Mary Maingi Mwea. Special bursary issued to learners without filling application forms or undergoing any sort of vetting to see if indeed they needed this money. Now let's talk about here in Nairobi, Julius Mwade, Embakasi South. 62 million shillings awarded to 3,131 youth for driving and cosmetology courses without any application. That's how it is, eh? So you do not know if indeed these guys were legit applicants who needed this money, or this money was just used for different purposes in general. So those are the questions that are being asked about members of parliament across the country who have misappropriated the bursary award scheme that they run with the money that they receive on their NCGDF funds. There's a report, by the way, by the Auditor General, and it's not the very first time we're seeing billions wasted or looted. It's 2.1 billion shillings. We'll go back this year, only this year, and look at some of the reports that we've seen from the Auditor General. All of them are running into the tunes of. Here we go on page 3. The story on State House wades into Nairobi hospital crisis. Now, President Ruto, as we do know, has intervened in the power struggle at the hospital in his capacity as patron of the association that owns the facility. That story has been covered on page 3. I mean, two sides of the coin in this story. We're going to see exactly what the Standard is talking about this particular story. And it's for the very first time that we are learning that President Ruto is a patron, all right, to the ownership of this hospital. Now, let's talk about devolution this morning. That story has been covered on page 23. County splash 160 billion on parks, but little for growth. It is paying salaries. Yeah, a county spent only 32 billion on development in the first 6 months of 2025-2026 financial year. Again, this is a report by the Auditor General as well. Now, story here on page 2 of the Daily Nation, where traders have suffered heavy losses again as a fire destroys city's toy market. Now, fire destroying goods at toy market in Nairobi yesterday. Now, the busy trading hub has long been plagued by recurring blazes, right, that have cost traders millions of shillings in losses. Now, the cause in the latest fire has not been established. The last images that we saw yesterday, or like the police arrived there to try and investigate the cause of that blaze. I mean, annual fires, we do expect this year again, we're going to have the Gikomba fire and the toy market. The toy market fire has happened, so now we're just waiting for the Gikomba market annual fire festival to also happen. I mean, it's time for us to go in and solve it, you know. All right, our president is in Western region, Gusii next to counter force. That's exactly where it is. Yesterday, he was in the Western region talking about the development agenda that is pushing across the country in different parts of his development agenda. That story has been covered on page 10. Good. Let's cross over then to the Standard this morning. Also see what is being covered here. Now, this is the story that I was telling you about. Hostile takeover. The Standard is calling it differently from what the Daily Nation is talking about this morning. And this is it, with the picture of the president right there. Now, it's talking about a case that reeks of high-stakes politics. Nairobi Hospital board members spent 7 hours in the boot of a police vehicle before appearing at Milimani Law Court yesterday. Among them was 80-year-old heart patient Dr. Job Obuaka, whose arrest on Friday sparked outrage across the medical fraternity. Opposition leaders allege the hostile takeover of the historic institution, accusing President William Ruto of orchestrating the moves. That story has been covered on page 3. You see the different parts to this particular story. The Daily Nation is revealing that the president is a patron in the ownership of this particular hospital. And he looked at it and said, well, we're going to wade in and see exactly what's going on there, with allegations that they want to create more board positions for interested parties. I do not know exactly what that means. We'll be looking into the details of this story. Like I promised last week, it's something that we're going to keep our tabs on and look into it and then come and tell you exactly what is happening around this particular one. On that note, let's cross over and jump into what is trending across different sectors of our economy this morning. Well, I'll begin with the first one this morning on rectangular threatening young people at an event, all right, of the vehicle crash victims. You do remember we spoke about this particular accident. So rectangular was at this requiem mass for the 15 people who died at the Malaha Junction. Remember the border operators and other people went to witness a border accident, and then a truck came in and crashed into that crowd. So rectangular was at this particular meeting, at this particular mass, and well, some young people started shouting one time, according to the audio that we have from this particular video, and this is rectangular weighing in on this particular issue. Let's take a look at that.
Huyo kijana mwenye kofia military, nimekuona na anaweza kutuma polisi wakuchukue saa hizi. Mimi kama kiongozi wenu nataka kuambia, wewe ukitaka kupiga kelele, simama barabarani upigie magari kelele. We will not allow you, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever you do, to come to a funeral and conduct yourself in the presence of bereaved families. This we will not allow. Wale vijana hawajui nani amekufa, hawajui hizi familia. Governor, we must instill discipline in our community. Our MPs, we must instill discipline in our community. Ewane wicha na nema zikano yokela. Ewaso manjino luliwe ngene nefwe bakali. We will not allow this. And I want to speak very strongly on this. Baba Askofu, muombe watoto wetu. Kama wewe ni mwanasiasa ukitembea na vijana, hata nikiwa mimi, waambie when we get to a funeral, keep your cool, you'll sing for me when we are done. Then they will do that for you.
Maybe we should tell the Speaker of the National Assembly that you can't limit the right of expression. You cannot. We dare you to arrest those youth, and all of them, yes, and take them to court. And then you go read a charge sheet for them. They will be released immediately. There is no law that says that you can't heckle a politician in any event. None whatsoever, Mr. Speaker. It's good that you are informed as well, so that some of these things, when we say them, we wonder, if I heckle you, you can't arrest me. Absolutely, I've done nothing. The Kenyan Constitution gives me a right of assembly and expression. You can't arrest young people for telling you, we don't want to hear you talk. There's nothing you can do. Can't tell your members of parliament to instill discipline to members of the public. It's impossible, sir. I think as a national speaker, you should be well informed that you can't arrest them. Yeah. Anyway, some of these issues are the ones that we're going to look at this morning. But I can say our guests are already in the studio this morning so that we can talk about our biggest conversation this morning, which is just how public service is no longer aligning itself to Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution that demands integrity, all right, and honesty when it comes to delivering public service. So any other employee in public service must conform to what the employment code in the country dictates. The question I'm asking this morning, is it by merit or is it by connections? I'll be giving you proper examples this morning of even the Senate Accounts Committee that has actually unearthed people work in emergency response services, but they have a degree in theology. Like we say in this country, we take it too far, that connections ni muhimu kuliko masomo. Have we taken it to that level? We take a tiny breather. Once we come back, we're going to table that conversation. I'll be introducing the guests who are joining us this morning for that discussion, as well as talk to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. Our WhatsApp lines are right there on your screen. We're going to keep on sampling your views as we go on with this broadcast. Good morning. See you on the other side of the break.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi mama.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, "Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more."
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Taarifa zinapotipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasi wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi mazuri.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen. Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
The Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles King again. There's just a lot that we're going to talk about this morning, but most importantly, there's a report by the Auditor General that indicates what goes on in public service in the country contravenes everything that we do know of in Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution that says must be led by integrity, honesty, and follow the employment code in the country. Before I introduce the guests who are joining us this morning, now there are concerns about the qualifications and merit in Kenya's public service that have persisted for decades despite constitutional safeguards. Now, Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution requires public service to be guided by professionalism, merit, and based appointments on efficient use of public resources. Yet, repeated government audits, especially the latest one from 2025-2026, that is a report from the Auditor General, has shown gaps between policy and practice. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has consistently warned that weak recruitment systems, political patronage, and corruption undermine professional standards in public institutions. Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index has repeatedly ranked Kenya among countries facing serious governance challenges. In the most recent ranking, Kenya scored 32 out of 100, placing it in the lower half globally and reinforcing concerns that public institutions remain vulnerable to corruption and weak oversight. Now, one of the most visible examples of this weakness is the persistent problem, number one, of ghost workers, government payroll audits that do not match the employment numbers that are reflected in public service. Now, a national audit conducted during the public service payroll cleanup revealed roughly 12,000 ghost workers within the national government system. County governments have faced similar challenges. In one county audit, more than 400 employees could not be traced as their duty stations despite being listed on payroll. Investigations have also estimated that ghost workers could be costing taxpayers billions of shillings every year, draining funds that would otherwise support public service such as health, education, and infrastructure. Good. That's why we're beginning this morning. So the question is connections more important than qualifications in public service in the country? Now, joining us then this morning to look into this particular issue and many other issues that are befalling public service in the country, we're going to be joined by Augustine Omondi, who's a political analyst. We're just waiting for him to walk into the studio this morning. But it's a good thing that we do have Leilana Apondi, who's already in the studio this morning to help us way into this issue. Leilana, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Happy to have you around.
I'm blessed. I'm humbled.
That's it. Let's jump into this conversation as we wait for Augustine to walk into the studio. There's just so much that we're going to look at this morning in terms of public service. This joke that we normally walk around in the country. You're told, a friend of mine told me, wewe simba endelea kusoma upate hiyo masters yako. Mimi acha nitafute connections. Hiyo joke unaenda kutafuta na hiyo masters, nitaipata na hii diploma yangu kesho. And you think that's a joke?
Yeah. It's a
Until
fact.
we saw this report by the Auditor General, and I'm gonna put forward these numbers so that we look at it together and then say what is really befalling us. Now, this is what the Auditor General is saying in this particular report. I'm just pulling it this morning so that we have a look at it together, so that we talk about the sheer numbers that have been put forward to us. I'll mention the first number. In terms of fake academic papers in public service in the country, this is what they're saying: 1,267 in the audit that they did. They found out that in public service currently, there are people who got fake papers. I'll read it. Here it is. Now, a 2023 report by the Kenya National Qualifications Authority, a state agency that vets academic certificates, found out that there are nearly 250,000 civil servants with fake certificates in the country as of 2023. Now, let's listen to more. Now, out of the 28,000 cases forwarded to the National Examinations Council, out of the 250,000 fake certificates, and I don't know why they didn't submit all of them, they found out that 91 public institutions, out of the 91 public institutions they vetted, 1,280 certificates were confirmed to be fake. We're going to continue. Now, out of the fake certificates that were vetted, 70% of those are in public service. Not private companies, just public service. Now we're going to continue. They're also saying another 787 public officers out of the 29,000 across 195 ministries were found to have secured employment, promotion, and redeployment using fake documents. So reference letters, certificates of that show your history of tenure in a certain department, all of them were fake. The sheer number of forgery in public service is what majority of Kenyans are getting open to right now. Lillian, why is this happening in public service in the country?
I'll give my views as a public employee, because I've been there. I've seen it happening. I've seen people go home. And what I would say, our main issue is nepotism.
Yes.
Nepotism at work is real, right? Where I know there's a vacancy. You think before I advertise that space or that vacancy, I don't think of the people I know who have that qualification. I'll definitely call them first. Most of the time, and that is why you see in these public offices, I personally know where there's a wife, a husband, a sister, a brother in the same office, and there's nothing you can do. It has been happening. It was there before I came, So it is, I'll say it is a regime.
Yes.
It's one after the other. You hear before someone's dad or mom is going for retirement, before he goes, someone has to sit on it, whether qualified or not. You understand? So it is a whole circle. It won't end.
Yes.
So if my grandfather lives, my dad will sit on that seat. If my dad lives, I will sit on that seat. If I'm leaving, my daughter will also sit on that seat. It is a whole roller coaster. And that's why I'm telling you, it won't stop now.
Yes.
And I'll tell you for free. You see that auditor report right now from 2023 to now, I want you to see the next report in the next 2 years. The margin will grow. And what I hate about our government, it does nothing about it. It will only call out the fake certificates. But we don't focus on the grassroots where it started from. I love companies where the public services, I prefer that way, where we as a family, we don't have to work in the same office or in the same department. Yes. I prefer those who go to Mombasa, go to Kisumu, go to other counties, but not in the same office, same surrounding. Everything that happens there, you'll call your people. And then plus, hierarchy. We don't know who brought you here. We don't know if you have a godfather somewhere,
So we can't touch you.
We can't touch you. You're untouchable. You're untouchable. We cannot even ask you. Even let's say, because most of the public officers, they do sign a JD, job description. What are you qualified for? What did you study? What are you good at? They don't look at that. They will look at who brought you, which position suits you. Yeah, it happens. And it's not about to stop.
Yes. And this is the first question that we received when my colleagues and I were looking at this particular report. I mean, all of us have tried to get these government jobs, and you know very well, you apply, your certificates are sent to the HR department in these institutions, because we're not going to pretend that these offices do not have HR institutions. They are there. And on that day, you go there for an interview, the HR manager is the one who's interviewing you. So why can't this report then raise eyebrows within the public service? And then we have the CS coming up and saying, all the human resource managers in these offices where there are 250,000 fake certificates that you failed to verify as a human resource department, you're going home. Don't you think, Lillian, that if the public service CS stood up today and said that we're going to start from there, that we couldn't be talking about this morning?
I'll say a yes and a no. Number one, how do I put it? We all know where the problem starts. I'll say, you see, from school, rather from college.
Yes.
while you go to a course in human resource, you did finish, okay? So you don't have the legit papers as a human resource, all right? So you are also brought in that department, all right? You only studied, but you're not qualified, all right? You don't have the papers, the qualifications, all right? So you, because you don't have the papers and the qualifications, if I come for that interview, of course, if I have the papers, I'm a threat, number one. I'm a bad threat to you. Because if my papers are genuine, I am qualified. You, the HR who's doing for me interview, you're not qualified. You think I'll favor you? I'll prefer taking people without genuine papers like me, so that we be at par. Am I making my point? That is why most of the time they say, ukisoma sana Kenya. I've seen the interview. Yeah, don't go. Because who would choose you? You're a threat. Maybe the CEO himself or the director himself don't have the qualifications that you have. What makes me feel that I'm safe with you around? If that position comes again and you apply, you'll be my director. Where will I be left? So we will prefer the fake ones, like us.
Yes.
Yeah. The genuine ones, very rare.
Yes.
Very rare. Based on merit, based on pure qualifications.
Yes.
They're never safe.
That's it.
They're never safe.
Here's the next chapter in this outlook, and it's a grim outlook really. That we have the Article 232 of the Kenyan Constitution that states that public service should be run on the basis of integrity. That any other person who's holding public office has to deserve to be there. That's why every other public office tenders, even in these employment vacancies, they are advertised to the public. That's why it's the public service. And they state their qualifications. They say, if you meet this merit, we need you in this particular office. Good. If you feel like you can apply, then you apply. There's a vetting process that follows. Then after that, every other person then will go in for an interview. There's an equal opportunity for you to get interviewed. Then afterwards, you cross over. Somebody said that what we are seeing in public service is what we normally see in state appointments. That once a president appoints you and says, well, I recommend Lillian for this particular job, so you can go to the Public Service Commission so they can actually get to vet you. Nobody has the audacity to strike you off that list. That upon appointment, you've gone through. Kenyans have been treated to a suckers of this state appointment Public Service Commission interviews, where you have PSs, some CSs who've gone to national television and they do not know
what position?
A little thing about the position that's been appointed to, but they make it through. Is that why the government doesn't see any need, therefore, to come back and look at these numbers and get scared that this is wrong for public service?
As you've said, if the president does the appointing, you, who are you to question me whether I'm qualified or not?
Yes.
The president have said, I'll sit on that seat and be very comfortable.
Yes.
Whether I'll be a ghost worker, whether I'm qualified, whether I have merit or not, whether I have documents or not, the president has appointed me. Where do you want me to go? President has said. I don't know if he did his homework the night before or ask about me if I'm qualified or not, but he's appointed me. Tomorrow I'll be sworn in, darling, very early in the morning, and I'll sit on that seat for 5 years and do absolutely nothing. That's the problem we have right now in Nairobi. I'm thinking if there's something we should really work on as Kenyans, is to work on our constitutions. We need amendments. Such appointments, I would say, the situations where are putting us behind as a country. You know, let me point to you. I know you've been in military. I'll give you an example. You've been in military. Umekimbia kiganjo. You've gone through the whole process. You've gone through the whole procedure. You know how to run whatever is happening. You know how to go about it. I think you're familiar with where you're taking. Let me not just wake you up. How do we call it? That how?
Yes.
You just seated and ask, hey, you have been gazetted, you have been appointed. You didn't even have a clue. And then you just come there. You know, and this is one thing I will say as a public employee. We have those problems in our offices. Those bosses for boards, the same thing I've told you. As long as you have a godfather, you'll live and you'll survive. As long as you're appointed, you don't know who brought you. You'll have your salary. You'll have your cake and you'll eat it. But now, what of a normal mwananchi? We're in a sad situation, believe it or not. This is one thing I used to tell someone. I used to love the way Baba would appoint his friends. Back then, I would say, because I was looking at how he used to appoint them back then, at least he would sit down and know someone has done this and this, you know. This person is good at doing this. He'll appoint you according to where you have aligned yourself with, what you're good at. Now you see, the same way you said, I did theology. Why are you putting me in disaster management? Yeah. Even God himself will be mad. Even God himself will be mad. Should they pray for rain to stop? No. We just have to be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
We should have to be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
As a country.
Yes.
As public workers. It's fine, we're all humans.
Yes.
It's fine, you can employ your family, we don't care. Because I will tell you, we will not stop nepotism right now.
That's it.
But let us find a better way to make it look better.
That's it.
Those also who come with fake certificate because nimeambiwa nikuje, whether I'm qualified or not, should also, I mean, think. Go back hata kwa president umwambie kitu umenipatia naona iko kubwa sana, hiki hatu siwezi vaa sana. You know, if you cannot, please, wacha watu wenye wanaweza fanya wafanye.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Let the people who can handle the job do it.
That's it.
Let the people who are qualified for the job do it. Stop pushing people who don't know why they were put in disaster arrangements instead of going to church. It won't work. It won't work. It's a mess.
That's it.
It's a bad mess. And this mess is going to cost all of us.
That's it.
Yes.
So I want to read for you, there's a friend of mine who saw this particular post for a conversation this morning. And his name is James. James Minor, how are you doing, sir? Good morning. Also, I've also have Micah Chalk as well, who saw this particular post and said, I'll start with this quote from Micah. It tells me, tell your guests, the president has been set from the top appointments in this country. It says, we rarely question the credibility and the qualifications of the people that we put in these offices, majorly the CSs in this country. They're supposed to be technocrats, but majority of them, and he says, cannot even name the type of oil that we produce as a country. The most basic of the questions. Then I've got this one from James Minor, and this is what James says as well. James says this, but how do we expect this to change when even we as a country are not serious about public service? Currently, goes on to say, currently as it stands, we as Kenyans have all accepted that the position of an MCA doesn't need a degree. The position of a member of parliament in this country doesn't need a degree. The position of governor in this country doesn't need a degree as well. The only thing you need to prove is that you have basic education. Then goes on to say, then why are you telling the rest of the Kenyans to go to school and study to apply for these jobs when their bosses have not even stepped in school? Is that where the problem is?
Yes, it is a big problem. Some would call it fate. I won't call it fate. Oh, Mungu alileta kazi, hapana. But what I would say is basic education is not enough nowadays. Go back to school, sit in that class. General knowledge, like I'm sorry to say this, I've sat with friends. I've just sat with, let me say, a group of maybe 5 to 6 people.
Yes.
And someone is very senior, you know, kiongozi mkubwa sana, you know, and you're having general talk, general knowledge, you know, like you don't need much to understand or to know.
Yes.
Then you'll hear one of them come up with a comment, then you're like, yo, who elected you? I mean, where are you from?
Yes.
I mean, wait, ulisomea wapi? You yourself, you start even pitying yourself. You're like, if I feel this way, the people who elected this guy, how are they feeling? That is why I tell Gen Z to date. Please, before you elect your leaders, do kidogo background check.
That's it.
Very important. Very important. Yes. Look at please, be it family, be it school, we don't care. Look at their background. Where are they from? What do they know? You know? Who led them? Who is their godfather? Who is teaching them how to? You know? Let us not elect people because they have money or because they are famous. Now all they want is power. They don't care about you as a normal mwananchi. They don't. They believe it or not. Mm-hmm. The money they pour during campaign. You in umekula ndo mesabu. What he wants. Because if I have all this money, what more do I need? To steal more? Of course, yes. To gain power? Of course, yes. To gain other favors from other bosses? Of course, yes. Mm-hmm. So, I'm powerful right now, but do I even have common sense? I don't have it. That is why you will hear a whole political leader utter some things in parliament. Yeah. Yo! There was a time I was like, why did these people go for training? Why are they being taught? Even basic etiquette, you know? Even how just to communicate, even in public. A whole leader, you throw shade, throw insults. You don't. At times, I say, okay, they say some are drunk with power. I won't say it's drunk with power. A stupid person is just stupid. There's no better way to call it. An ignorant person is just ignorant. That's it. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And now the problem is, and forgive me to say this, I hate those politicians now who, when they're called maybe for interviews or they're in a public function, now they want to use those, you see, those big English to be seen, hey, he's gone to school, he's eloquent. We don't need that. These public officers, we don't need it. The leading people, we don't need it. A normal mwananchi cannot, like I will say, our education system is not that bad.
Yes.
I told them Tamefika class 8 in Nairobi can write a very good sentence. You know? It might be broken, but you can understand. You can tell even when they're taking oath. You can even and only say, God, don't judge me. Me, I will tell someone, umeshinda mpaka kusoma oath yako. Mimi tutasaidia na kusign bursary. There are things that we Kenyans are the ones to work on, not even our government. We are the ones to decide. We are the ones to choose if we want or not. And this is what I'm pushing for right now.
Yes.
Next year election, kindly, let us vote for people who are not, as Martin Luther had said, you cannot educate the mind without educating the soul. Let us elect people who understand, not just education, who understand the system, who understand the people who elect them, who understand what a normal mwananchi needs, who understand that sawa, huyu amefika class 8, akona skills. Ule amefika class 8, sorry, amefika, maybe he's a graduate.
Yes.
But ana skills.
Yes.
Let us understand, both of them, they need each other. You got the papers, I got the skills. But what did you study? The skills that I have. Which, like where I work, it is a technical company. I need you to understand that your skills are more useful than your education. You know, I once told someone, have you ever had an engineer friend who cannot think beyond engineering? They cannot think beyond engineering. Some people are IT, he cannot think beyond IT.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is why I hate the way people, you see, when you tell, back when I was growing up, you'll see, when you were growing up, you'll see a baby or someone, you'll see anyone who looks shaggy with glasses, automatically you know that's a professor. Yeah?
Yes.
That's a professor.
That's it.
Whether mesoma majasoma. Yes. As long as the coat is just sagging a bit. With the glasses, that's a professor. Because now professors, they will say, professors they're only educated here, but they're not educated here. Oh, professor atapendi kuoga. Oh, professor apendi. You know, they have those, I'll call them characters.
Yes.
But you see, this person is very educated. When you put him to his work or to his line, believe me, he'll give you 100% of the best.
That's it.
Because that is what he studied. That is where his qualification is. But now you want to take Professor Kwamjengo, utakuwa mzee.
And that's exactly what we've seen in public service in this country. Guess what? I'd like us to take a tiny breather. Once we come back, you know what? We're opening a Pandora's box this morning, Lillian, because in a population of about 58 million Kenyans, there is another problem that we have to talk about this morning. Looking at reports that we might be only having 4 million degrees in this economy. That is exactly what we're going to look at. And I'll be giving you a couple of examples that we have no proper law that can come in and stop this. We only have examples of cases of where employees who've used fake certificates have been ordered to pay their entire salary that they have received in those institutions or face jail term. Once we come back, more issues. I'll be looking at some of your comments that you've kept on sending in this morning, as we also wait to bring in our next guest in the studio, Augustine Omondi, who's on the way rushing to have a weigh in on this conversation. I'll see you on the other side of the break.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I loved music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before? No. We met in
Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza alikuwa na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Guess what? We're still talking about this particular issue of public service integrity, that majority of you, in fact 250,000 of you as of 2023 do not deserve to be in those offices because you do not qualify or you do not have papers that would make you sit in those offices and offer service to Kenyans. That is according to the Auditor General's report. But here's the thing then, we're going to look at this particular man, the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital, Development and Special Programs in Kenya as of 2025-2026. That is CS Geoffrey Ruku. If you look at what the CS should focus on. It's public service reforms, initiated plans to shift civil servants to contract terms to improve performance. That is exactly what he's talking about. Number 2, salary harmonization, service delivery, that is Huduma centers, performance accountability, and special programs. Just link you up to what his agenda has been. Overseeing an increase in national youth service intake to 40,000, and also working to make government services more accessible, affordable, and faster, including issuance of good conduct certificates. None in his tenure, in his mandate in 2025-2026, that is saying weeding out rogue employees out of public service. Now, Lillian, just hold on to that this has been his key achievements that he's talking about as of 2025-2026. I'll cross over again to some of the cases we've seen in this country that touch on this issue that we're talking about this morning. Now, there's a KEFIS employee in 2024, a former Kenya Plant Health Inspector Service employee who was ordered to refund 4.7 million shillings in salaries and benefits, or face 5 years in prison after using fake agricultural diplomas and certificates to secure employment. Another one in Kisii County, as of 2023, Evans Nyauka, a former ward administrator in Kisii County, was ordered to refund over 3.1 million shillings in salary after it was discovered he used forged academic papers from the Kenya Institute of Management to secure the job. We're going to continue. Nairobi Water employee in 2025. A former ICT assistant at the Nairobi City and Sewerage Company was ordered to pay a fine and repay over 8.5 million shillings, including twice the amount earned per regulations for using fake KCSE certificate. Continue. Active EACC action, that's 2025-2026, is actively investigating 500 to 2,000 public servants for using fake certificates and is seeking to recover hundreds of millions of shillings in salaries and allowances paid out illegally. The key takeaway here is that we still do not have a law that actually states that once you're found with fake academic papers, forged certificates, this is what you face and this is the amount you're supposed to pay. All that we have in this country is that you're taken to court, all right? EACC will start an investigation on you, taken to court, and the courts will determine your rightful punishment. So until you're caught, you're safe. But before you're caught, you can go in. There is no law that is stopping you from doing that. Let's start with the CS, Ruku. Is he failing?
He is failing. He is failing.
Because look at his mandate. I'll read it again.
He's failing.
Those guys, he's only talking about public service reforms.
Yeah.
Initiated plans to shift civil servants to contract terms to improve performance. Like in this reform, that is the biggest thing. That's what is trending this year. That public service employees now are going to be on contract basis. Note the 250,000 Kenyans were using fixed certificates to get their employment, and they're going to go on contract as well. Is he failing?
Yeah, he is failing. And that is why you see most of the time we had a situation where most of our bosses, when it comes to contractor, let's say your contract is over. Your contract is over, it has not been renewed. Why are you still in the office? Some even go to court to challenge those contracts because they want more. The same way you've said, we still don't have a law. If I can go to court and challenge even my own retirement, and Constitution is very direct on retirement. We all know the age limit. But you get someone is over 60 and they still want to sit in the office. They even go to court to challenge the retirement because our public service has not put in the proper policies and the proper law for a public servant. And it will continue to eat us. The same way And my opinion as Lilo, when you're firing me after you find out that I had fake documents, who employed me? What criteria did they use to employ me?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yes. What criteria did they use to
That's
employ
the
me?
question.
Me, well, I've served for 10 years. My work was perfect. I would show up in the office from 8 to 5.
That's it.
Yeah.
My KPIs are fantastic.
My KPIs, exactly.
I've been meeting my KPIs.
I've delivered. You know, I'm very competent. You know, my JD, perfect. You know, my how is it called? Appraisals, 100%, fantastic. I mean, why are you chasing me home? Because of one fake document, but I can work, but I can deliver.
Let's go look out for the person who employed me.
Exactly. You know what I was saying? If they're arresting all those employees who went home, they should also arrest the people who employed them. My opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we're both parties in this situation.
Yes.
Yes.
What about...
I came with
Yes.
my documents.
Yes.
You had the right to go through my documents.
Scrutinize it.
Exactly. Scrutinize to see if I'm qualified or not, if they're genuine or not. Right? But you didn't.
Yes.
You didn't. Because you know why? The criteria they used to employ us with. Chukua CV. Pea msichana kazi.
That's it.
Yes. Dada ndugu yangu, you know. By the time we realize, they're not even qualified.
That's it.
And we're not even accountable as a company, you know. We're not even accountable as a public servant officer. Because what can you account for, you know? Before you notice it, I will still repeat, our system has failed. And if there's one thing, the same way you've said, sales should come up with new policies.
That's it.
Right? New reforms, right? New, and Simba, forgive me, I dislike the way they travel annually. Not for real, to go and benchmark. I don't know what they go to benchmark for.
Yes.
Because what are you bringing back?
Yes.
Me, Simba, I'm not lying. I go somewhere, I see something, I'll come back and implement it. Okay? I'll come back and work on it. I'll come back and show my people this is what I saw. And it's working here. So that means it can also work here.
Yes.
These people are always in Singapore. What do they bring back? Absolutely nothing. Ask CS at Saizi, we are public service. How many employees do you have in Kenya? Believe me, he doesn't know. How many CEOs are there? He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Even right now, even if you ask him about his own employees right under him, trust me, he doesn't know.
Yes.
But because he was appointed, who are we to question him?
Yes. Here's another concern as well. Let's just take a look at
but Simba,
this particular examples here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at these recent cases, is it wrong, Lillian, that we're sitting here talking about 250,000 from 2023, and the only cases that we have, the recent cases of these guys getting punished or getting pushed all the way to court, is just 1, 2, 3, 4 cases that have come to the limelight, and they're saying, as it stands, as of 2025-2026, they're saying that EACC is actively investigating roughly 500 to 2,000 public servants for using fake certificates. How hard is it to investigate a fake certificate in this country? Okay, Lillian, can you paint a picture? How hard is it? Because they have 250,000 fake certificates. They've said, well, we do not know where these are from, but currently as it is, they're only investigating 500 to 2,000. How hard is it?
I was telling one of my colleagues the other day, me as a union representative, I was telling someone, how about our government should just come up with right now we have QR code. So,
yes.
How about all the certificates to have a QR code where you can just scan, scan, open, see if you're qualified or not.
That's it. It takes you back to your graduating year.
Exactly.
It should be as simple as that.
It should be as simple as ABCD. I've told you, I don't know why these people travel to go and benchmark. I don't know what they come back with. Yes. Because now, if something sensitive like academic qualifications are treated this way,
yes.
What about other things that we cannot say?
Yes.
Or we cannot say?
It's a bit interesting when you look at it, and I'll go back again and say, I'll say this. This is what they're saying, that EACC is pursuing both criminal prosecution for forgery and civil cases for the recovery of all earnings obtained through fraudulent employment. That's one. And number two, they're saying there's no immunity. They're saying that the crackdown affects both county and national government employees. There's a presidential directive that is sitting at the Public Service Ministry that is saying, has ordered civil servants with fixed I don't know whether I should continue to read it. He said, is ordered civil servants with fake certificates to resign and refund their earnings or face prosecution. So all we're seated with is a threat from the president for them to resign over fake certificates. Is that going to work?
It's working. Because I've seen some of them resign.
Yes.
And I remember in 2024,
yes,
most of our employees, after they knew there was already that directive,
yes,
they rushed to go and resign peacefully instead of going to court. It's actually, I would say it's one of the best options they had.
Yes.
Yeah, because you see, when now you get terminated, you lose your benefits. But if you resign, you'll get benefits 1%. But now I ask, this is the question I asked, how about the people who retired with all those fake certificates? That's my question. Are they also supposed to be recalled back?
That they can refund?
And they can refund the money back. The president should not be giving directives to the public service. The president should be giving directives to the CS.
That's it.
To come up with a procedure to handle such situations.
Yes.
That can benefit both the public and the national government.
Yes.
Yes.
At this point.
But,
yes.
as for now, I have asked and I repeated, the people who retired enjoyed with all the fake certificates they had for more than 20 years. They were never called out for them. They finished their job, we celebrated them, we did for them a big party to go back home with their fake certificates, and they earned the money plus the retirement benefits.
That's it.
Okay?
And probably they're on pension right now.
And maybe, exactly. Not probably they are. Yes. They are on pension.
Yes.
So, are they guilty as well? Are they also supposed to be charged? Or how is the government going to do that? Ama yao ikiisha imeisha. Mwenye yako ndio tuko na kazi naye.
It's a good thing that Augustine is joined us this morning. Augustine, how are you doing, sir? Too much traffic, isn't it? All right, let me just give you an update of where we are so that you jump right in. I'll just give you that snapshot. That currently, from 2023 to where we are right now in 2026, there are 250,000 public servants in this country that are on those positions on fake documents as it stands. 70% of this population is not in private sector, is in public sector. That's where this majority of numbers are seated. But you look again, how many of these are under investigation currently as it's out of the 250,000, EACC is actively only pursuing 500 to 2,000 public servants for using fake certificates. That's as it stands. CS Ruku, who's the CS Public Service, his biggest reform this year in public service is not to root out these 250,000 who are running public service on fake certificates. It is the biggest implementation in public service this year, as we've been told. It's moving from permanent and pensionable to contract and performance basis. What do you want to jump in, Augustine?
Thank you. Apologies, I'm late. Now you see, we have a principle that those who comes to equity must practice equity. That is one thing. Number two, those come to equity must do equity. So the people that we are pushing to try get people with the fake certificates from the system are already having those fake certificates. So it's very complicated, and even if the government was to pursue everyone who has a fake certificate in the system, it will cost taxpayers money to do so through legal fees and other forms. You see, some time back, when this recruitment were done, my able colleague is saying that some even retired, they did parties for them, and these people were having fake certificates. That is that time. So right now, my understanding is that the government have put the recruitment to go through the NIS kind of a system whereby after doing the shortlisting, now people will go for the interview. Now the issue of fake certificates and wrong qualifications comes in at the point of giving appointment letters. You can even end up with a blue letter from the government, but not end up at the payroll. The reason being, somebody somewhere was fixed into your position and with fake certificates, and you will receive an email, kindly, you didn't qualify for this position ABCD.
Yes.
But now you see, even if Ruku is saying that one of his main achievement is to wipe out the people who are in the system with the fake certificate and move them into the contractual kind of engagement. The issue is, are we having people who are qualified in the government system that are able to offer good services to Kenyans who depend on them? Because the moment you are having people with fake certificates in the system, it means these are people that are not qualified for these specific positions. So what you expect them to do as a service provision to Kenyans, it's very difficult for them to achieve the intentions of the president towards other Kenyans, because themselves are not qualified to achieve what the president wants them to achieve. So maybe what the government should say, that moving forward in terms of recruitment, they should ensure that the people that they are having, because the government have all the necessary tools to ensure that they know my certificate, whether it is valid, whether it is fake. And the issue of fake certificate is not an issue of today. Even these governors, when they are looking for these seats, you will hear that a governor that never went to school now is having maybe a doctorate in some theology in a school from India, and no one follows up, and now you see people, even the governor for Nairobi, people are in court because of the validity of his own certificate. Yes. And now you want to tell me that now that governor wants to whip out Nairobi County to get people with fake certificates and ghost workers. Is it going to work? Because it can't work. Reason being, the government itself is not practicing that particular equity. And you see, when Simbarati tried to whip out, said that, tried doing head-to-head, that if you are a driver, come with your car. If you are doing ABCD, I want to see you in your position of work. That's how people disappeared. And people really fought hard. For it almost costed this Simbarati his position. Even at some point in Kisii, people are thinking of impeaching. The reason being, he said, everyone aligned, I want to come to your station, I want to see where you work, I want to see where you sit. If you are a driver, come with your car. People who didn't have a car disappeared because they were not in the system. Those are the ghost workers. So we fighting ghost workers in the system is something that is going to take time. And Ruku cannot claim that he can clear it today. But we must start from the root of the problem. How do we recruit members into government system? What procedure? How integral is the process of having people into PSC? Yes. So those are the things that we need to look at, because putting people on contract basis from where I stand is that you see, when you're working without surety, it means that the person that is working there is not giving his 100% in terms of where he is, because he knows that if my contract is done, I'll go. These people might or might not renew. If I have you on permanent and pensionable basis, you deliver at 100% because this is your work. You have to do it, and you're not doing it for a short term. You're doing it for a long period of time. Okay. Though the contract might, in fact, if you even try to look at it in terms of cost, contract basis might cost taxpayers a lot of taxpayers' money as compared to people who are permanent and pensionable. Mm-hmm. Because people who are on contract, they know that we are not here to stay. After 1 year, we'll be struggling to renew our contract. So we just need to do whatever we want to do. Even if I was to use my brain, I can't use it at 100% because I know these people that don't appreciate me. But now we see, when I'm somewhere for long-term contract, pensionable, I know that this is where I belong. I need to work and do things and make things work. So it will force the government in terms of recruitment for them to tighten the spaces and ensure that the people that we are having in the system are qualified Kenyans that can serve other Kenyans.
That's it. Just before I give this opportunity to Lillian as well, because she's really weighed in on these issues this morning, I want to get you at par with where we are. I want you to look at this comment. Again, I'll put it to you from James Minor this morning and Micah as well this morning as well, who say, look here, if you look at state appointments currently as it is, that you, Augustine, if you are close to the president and the president picks you as a state official and he appoints you, regardless of who you are or what you know or what you do not know, you are likely to get that job because you've been appointed. That this is the mirror in the entire of the public service in the country, that as long as you've been appointed or sent by your godfather, you're good to go. Nobody's going to look at your papers. They're just going to sign you up into the job. Is that where the problem is? That we have so many of these individuals, and those are political appointments in this office. No wonder when ESCC goes to investigate, instead of investigating 250,000, they're telling you, out of the 250,000, we're only looking into 500 to 2,000 of those. Is that where the problem is? Because they know they cannot touch those political appointments in those offices.
Now, you see that well proves, because now you see, if you get close to the president and the president, for example, appoints you to a certain position in government, that appointment, the way you've been appointed by word of mouth, it doesn't happen that way. It goes, there's a process that it goes through so that you're approved, and the recommendation are given to the president, this person is fit to hold this office, A, B, C, D. Now these people, who now gives people letters? Now those are the people that, because they're the people that will advise the president. Tell the president, you have appointed a person A, B, C, D, but according to his papers, this person does not have papers. He's not qualified for this position. Is it possible that you replace him with another person so that we are able to have a qualified person? But now you find that the people that are supposed to approve, verify, and confirm are now doing it in terms of they are worshiping the president. They are not considering the position that they are giving. They are not considering the qualifications. They take the word of the president to be law, whereas the word of the president should be taken through other processes so that no one is found in the system illegally unqualified in the system.
But is it possible for you to advise the president, Augustine, and say that I'm not going to appoint this particular individual that you've sent here?
But now we see the way we have in this country. That's why we have these institutions. If the president had the power to appoint you, Simba, he will just say today, I've given you work, start working tomorrow. You don't need a letter. You don't need to go through PS. That is what could have happened. These institutions, they should do their work. They should tell the president, the person that you gave us for this particular position is not qualified for this position.
Let me give you an example, and it's a good thing that we're talking about this right now. I'll remind you of one CS. Rashid Echesa, if you guys remember the story that goes back to 2019, is a man who, when he faced, and he was a sports CS in this country, so went to the Public Service Commission for him to be, interviewed, where they had the ability to qualify for that particular job. Kenyans were treated to sarcasm. He's a man who was not aware that he needed any qualification for him to oversee this particular position, and later on, he revealed that the only school he attended was adult school, for literacy, to allow you read and write. But we saw what happened. How many CSs, Lillian, have we seen go to that Public Service Commission that have got no clue about how that particular job is supposed to run, but they go right ahead and get these jobs? Is it not this political points that we were talking about, that once this guy has been sent there, you dare make him not get that job, your job is the one that we're coming for? Is that not what it looks like?
Are sexually transmitted promotions.
Yes.
You're my girlfriend. I know you can deliver. I know you can do this. And then, and also, there's something I would like to add upon. Most of these appointments, they're not that because maybe the president wants, or a certain CEO wants you to be in that position, because you're qualified.
Yes.
Some are placed there as puppets, all right? For them to be controlled. or someone who can listen, or they look for a goon. Like me, I always say, if I was to appoint my people, I'll look for people who were like-minded. Like Sewot Niwezi. I don't know if you're getting my point. Like, I don't have to explain to you everything that we're doing.
Yes.
I've told you, I've given you a task. This is what I want you to come up with. So some of these appointments, people are being placed there by certain purpose.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
And you have to be a puppet. 80% of them are puppets. They're not there to work or to deliver. No. They're not there to work.
I want to point you out in this direction as well. It's a good thing that Augustine is here. And this is what we got to. That in this country, Augustine, I know you're qualified for your particular position, your profession needs a degree, and even your union actually can't allow you to perform your functions in this country without you proving that indeed you've gone to school and you're qualified for it. You've put in measures. But somebody said this, do you know in this country, Augustine, you don't need a degree to be a member of parliament anymore? That one, we thrashed it. You don't need a degree to be a governor anymore in this country. That we thrashed it. You only need basic education to be a member of a county assembly. We've had members of county assemblies in this country say we need to hold our parliamentary proceedings in mother tongue, local dialect, because that is what we can conceive as a people in this particular words. So how is it then, Augustine, that you will sit here and say, you're a member of parliament who makes laws that govern how you operate as a company, as a public service company in this country, doesn't have any degree. Your MCA doesn't have a degree. Your governor who's paying you in that office doesn't need to have a degree to be a governor. Why are we expecting members of the public service in this country, Augustine, to come in with degrees and master's degrees and PhDs for them to get a job? Why can't we allow them to go in and perform these duties without papers?
Let me weigh in on the other question. Then I come back to this one. You see, the reason why the issues like the issues of Akina Echesa and other people, this government, first of all, is having a mismatch of technocrats in different cabinet positions. For example, you're finding that somebody like C.S. Murkomen is a lawyer by profession. You just wonder what is he doing in a security docket. You look at Duale, what is he doing in health? So you find that we have a mismatch of professionalism in terms of knowledge in these particular cabinet offices. But now you see, you find that the government ensures that the people now that are below the CS are now, these are the people that, because these are the people that should help the president achieve his mandate to Kenyans. So, and you see some of these positions, they're giving to friends, they're giving to people who really help him work so hard to get this government. The problem is that the people that it's very unfortunate that we can say that in this country that Echesa was a CS for sports. He never played football anywhere. He never stepped. And his history is very clear to the public. So maybe for the government to be able to deliver to people, he must do what Uhuru did. You see, Uhuru in his second term, he decided to put everyone as per your qualification. He ensured that every technocrat, every person that was given a CS position is a technocrat and a professional in that particular area. In fact, he went for doctors and PhD holders to ensure that that particular department delivers. When we come back to the question that we've asked about you see the members of parliament. You see the parliament is where we make laws, is where we make very many decisions, is where very many approvals are done. It is where the voice of the people are heard through the representation of members of a parliament. It is a disservice to voters that now they can elect anything to parliament to represent them, and that person will go there and will not be able. So there are some MPs in parliament who have never even addressed parliament until today. They just know that maybe I need to go to parliament in the morning so I get my daily allowances and I go home. But now dealing with the issues of Kenyans, those ones, he carries them out during the last year of his term. So maybe it is us now Kenyans to ensure that the people that we elect to go to parliament, regardless of their position, there are people that are qualified, they can serve us well, because now we are very exposed we don't have anything to protect us in terms of elimination. We can't say that, Simba, you don't have a degree, we can't vote you in. So it is now us, because the main problem that we are having as a country during this election is that these members of parliament, for them to be in parliament, they buy these positions. When you are being given 1,000 shillings, when you are being given 100, we are given 50 shillings with an educated person, for him to vote for him to go to parliament to represent you. It means this person, technically, he is done with you. He has paid you for what he has supposed to do for 5 years. So he's going to parliament and he has paid you 50 shillings. You, without thinking twice and trying to see the criteria, looking at the criteria of the same particular person, you go ahead and you vote him. So the buck now stops with the voters, Kenyan voters. Are we able to do the scrutiny of the members of parliament that we want to vote in? Because again, the research has it that people who are not educated sometimes deliver compared to people who are educated. That's the research, in fact, more specifically compared to what is being done to people. And that's why you see, if you go to counties like Siaya, apart from very many big English, and there is nothing that is happening there. They are county in this country that is having a very small roundabout that cannot even sustain two bikes for the kids. And we have a governor there who is a senior counsel, right? So it means the people of Siaya voted a lawyer who is not a manager, who cannot manage a county. Right, so they are suffering right now. So it is the people, the buck now stops with the people. Come 2027 elections, now that the qualification of degree has been removed, let's check the background of this particular leader that we want to vote. Let's note that the leader just come from Nairobi, that now it is Simba Nakazi, Simba Nakazi, Simba Nakazi, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, then we vote him in. We must know the background. How is this, has this person worked somewhere with issues of public service? Does he know, does he have the interest of the people within? So that even when we vote people, regardless of their degree, we vote people that are committed in service delivery to Kenyans, because that is the most important thing.
That's it. All right, we have 10 minutes left for this conversation. And Lena, I want to point you out in this direction as well. Now, there's the Penal Code, Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya. It's not specific, and I'm going to read it out so that we see whether this is where the rain starts beating us this morning. It's not quite specific. It's actually a law that maybe we need to relook it. Maybe the CS needs to go back and say, I need this one streamlined so that I can scare people from using fake certificates in this country. I'm going to read it. Section 349, general punishment for forgery. It actually talks about general punishment. It's never specific. Goes on to say, anyone who forges a document, including academic certificates, is guilty of a felony and liable to imprisonment. That's it. Goes on to say, Section 353, uttering a false document. You saying, I graduated from Nairobi University or from a university in Uganda. It says, knowingly and fraudulently presenting a fake certificate is a crime equivalent to forgery, carrying the same penalties. Just imprisonment. Like, we have to go listen to you. It's not so specific, saying that at the point where you're found, this is what you qualify for as punishment. These are the years that you're going to go in. It doesn't state that. Then goes on to say, it's the same thing. Section 357, making documents with authority, takes you back to forgery. Personation of a person named in the testimonial, if you have a wrong reference, takes you back to forgery as well. Goes on to say, also has the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act 203, that states that it enables the Ethics and Corruption Commission, EACC, to prosecute public officers who use fake certificates and to recover all salaries and benefits from such fraudulent employment. The only thing it says is that we're going to come for you and recover our salary. If you don't have it, you're going to go in. Simple as that. Also goes on to talk about Employment Act of 2027 that gives your HR the right to fire you without giving you notice once they find that you have fake certificates. But I do not know how they will let it get here to the point that your HR doesn't know that you're using fake documents. Do you think we need to go back and relook the Penal Code, Cap 63 of the Kenya laws of Kenya, and say, maybe institute stiffer punishments so that you can scare people from using fake certificates in this country? Because as it stands, 250,000 of them, Lillian, they are not scared. They are not scared.
Well, they'd be scared, and I know our judiciary system as well. If I manage to get a job with my fake certificate and work there for over 10 years, and you people never noticed, even in that judiciary, you'll say, Okay, I'm charged with felony. Fine. For how many months will I be in? Our judiciary system is, I'll just say this, Simba. Our system, I think we have to go back to the drawing board.
Yes.
Fully.
Yes.
And number one, I would say, we should start from the grassroots, where the problem has started.
Yes.
Back to our schools, primary, as we go, right? Let us try, and when he came in, he said that you cannot give an equity and you don't have it.
That's it.
Let us start from the grassroots where the problem has started from. Because if I already know how to maneuver with my fake certificate, I will also know how to play with our judiciary system. Yes. And I'm sorry, they always say there's no excuse for bending the law or being ignorant. Because I will say I didn't know my documents were fake. I didn't know. I've been working for 10 years. I've been here.
Yes.
Ask my HR. I've delivered. You know, if you look at my JD, perfect. If you look at my appraisals, both 10 over 10. So as much as you feel I should pay you back your money that you think I took illegally, how about the year that I've served you as well? Who's going to pay me for that? Whether I had fake certificates or not, but I did the job.
That's it.
I did the job.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get to the courts for forgery,
yes,
let us change first our criteria. Let the PS come up with a new criteria of employing.
Yes.
Going through, doing the due diligence.
Yes.
And our how is it called? Our labor act also. I think we should come up with an umbrella that governs all this.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Augustine, I want you to weigh in on this as well. I mean, look at this penal code, Cap 63 of the laws of Kenya. It talks, it's very specific, by the way. It talks about the general punishment for forgery. It's not that specific. It puts everything together. And then it leaves you to go to court to fight it off. Like what Lillian is saying. I mean, you can go and win that case and say that in my service delivery to that particular company, everything was 10 out of 10. I delivered as per the law. Do we need to change it?
That is section 349.
That's it?
We have section 350. That actually gives life imprisonment for doctoring such very important documents.
If you win a court case?
Of course you have to win. Of course, you see, if you're having a fake document, it's true you're having a fake document. So if you lose, because someone will take you to court, so it's you now to stand to prove that the document that I'm having is not fake in nature. But if you fail,
yes,
for example, section 350 gives life imprisonment,
yes,
for such offences.
But then, even as you continue, Augustine, why do we have section 350? Why do we have section 350 when it should have ended at section 349 that just states you cannot have a fake document?
Come again? I didn't get
so
your
the point
question.
is that when you look at the law, it has two sections. 349 that essentially says that talks about what forgery is and what you are liable to in case you're found to be using a fake document, or you've used a fake reference, or you used whatever it is. Talks about what forgery is. Even goes all the way to say what can happen to you at the point you've been found to have a fake document within your company, that you can be terminated. But then section 350 also comes in and says, now what we're going to do is that in the event that you come in and fight this particular case and you lose, and maybe you don't have the leeway to give us the money that we are demanding of you, that is all the salaries that we paid you within that tenure that you've been performing, then you can go to prison. Why do we have to wait up to section 350? Have we failed as a country to come up with mechanisms just to prove whether a certificate is fake or not, Augustine?
No. You see, what he's saying, what he's talking about technically, from what you're saying, is that there is a process that have been taken. You've been told to pay. If you are not able to pay, right, that is now the outcome. These are now the consequences of you not. But everyone deserves justice. Everyone deserves to be heard. Everyone, because now you see, you presented a fake document to a government officer. They approved. They gave you work for that purpose. Well and good. Wherever you are looking, as a person, you are looking for a job, because you remember it comes back to us as Kenyans.
Yes.
Our our integrity.
Yes.
And honesty towards what we have. Yes. And what we intend.
Yes.
Right. But now you see the creation, we having a high rate of unemployment.
Yes.
It will force anyone to just create a document for a very specific position. Maybe what we can say is that the government, there are people that were already in the system that were employed by fake documents.
Yes.
Some time back.
That's it.
And understand that sometime back there in the days of Moi, people were being employed. You just come, then start going to school, get your form for certificate, then the promotion, then you end up at a very senior position.
Yes.
Some of them even looked for certificates from outside just to bring it to. So their work was to bring the certificate. So who was this verifier who was verifying these particular certificates? How did he end up promoting this particular person with a fake certificate? So it means within the government system, there are people that have failed to do their job to ensure that the people that we are having in the system are having the valid and correct certificates for their specific qualifications. And the government should say, now that we are having, some of them are even old age, even if you take them to prison, even if you tell them to pay for what they have used, maybe someone has been paid almost over 30 million, and he is not able to, that 30 million, maybe he used to take his children to school and do other things. He will not be able to pay that particular amount of money. So these people, they should be categorized into group. The group one that were employed through the colonial years that are almost going to retire, yes. Take them for retire. But now this particular sect that are now here that are very young, it's very simple. Dismiss all of them. Raise take legal actions against them, or find a solution on how people can arbitrate and find a better way on, because now the public, the taxpayers' money has been paid. But again,
yes,
if we say that we're going to prosecute everyone in the system the way it is, one thing that we must be ready of as Kenyans is that we must be ready to be sure that the taxpayers' money is going to be used for that particular purpose.
Yes.
And it can also be a very good opportunity for the beginning of another corruption, or people now trying to manipulate their way in, and some other government officers through the years is trying to make money through it. So it's a very technical position, trying to whip people out, because the moment I heard that I'm one of the people that is going to be sent, I look for these officers, how do we move forward? And you see, it means that it's like what we are having right now. The president says a very good thing that we want to have the cameras all over the country.
Yes.
And ask the CS Chirchir, how long will it take us to have the cameras in 6 major towns? Then he says, give me
up to the
end of the month. Then he says 1 month. Then you see, when they are doing this, there's some cartel somewhere that are seated just like this waiting from NTSA. They're saying, this is a very good opportunity to make money from these Kenyans. Immediately they rush to Thika Road and install these cameras, and now they are finding people who are poor motorists through the system, so they pay. That does not achieve what the president said, because these cameras were meant for security in different towns. It was not meant to go to these particular streets for us to start taxing people. So it means that the president says the cartel people in the system thinks this other way, because they are thinking about making what? Yes. About making money.
Yes.
So that means that the people that we are having in the system,
yes,
they should be focused in ensuring that Kenyans are getting a better deal.
That's it.
Not to use, because even if we, to what Ruku is doing today, if we almost 60% of people in this government are having fake certificates. Today, if we start to whip them out, right, you will hear a very big scandal for corruption, because the people now will be buying their way out of this particular scandal, so that they are not found in the line, yes, of being accountable to Kenyans because they have fake certificates. So it's one issue that must be handled with a lot of soberness. And yes, we ensure that as we whip people out, yes, we ensure that the due process is followed.
Pretty much. Just take 15 seconds on this, because I want to step out of the studio. That in your argument, you leave out the people who have the responsibility to prove whether these documents are fake or not, the HR officers in these public institutions. Why can't they be directly liable, so that they stop employing these people with fake certificates, so that the owners of proving these documents are fake is on them? Starts there, ends there. Why are they in this penal code?
In fact, we should prosecute the HR, people who recruit people into government.
Yes.
Because it means that somebody somewhere is not doing his job.
That's it.
If the government applies for a job, it is me to try my luck if I can get, whether with original or a fake certificate. Remember, and that one, remember, it's from the point of integrity as a person,
That's
right?
it.
But
Yeah.
now you see, I have to try my luck.
That's
So
it.
if my document goes through that point, some people will say, it is God that has come through for me. But now the person that is passing it, now
Yes.
that is the HR.
Yes.
If tomorrow this person found that he was employed with a fake certificate,
Yes.
the first person we should prosecute is the HR and tell us that how did this person end up in the system through your hands, and you are supposed to verify all these qualifications.
Pretty much. Lillian, I'm going to take 15 seconds. What should CSW could do today?
Should they say go home?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you should go home.
You know what? 250,000 of you have fake certificates. Some of you have gotten employment, some of you have gotten salary increments, but EACC said it's coming for you. 2,000 of you are under investigation, and from what we've seen, you'll be asked to pay all the amounts of money that you've been paid when you were an employee and any other benefits that you got, or you go in. How long? That, we leave it to Section 350 of the Penal Code in the country under that particular law. But how this goes, man, I do not know. I mean, the God or money connections? I do not know, man. All right. Lillian, Augustine, thank you very much for joining me this morning. Take them online to the time that you joined us this morning and look up TV across all your social media platforms. The hashtag is The Morning Drift. We come back with a tiny section of what you guys are talking about this morning before we step out of the studio this morning. Good morning.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through
taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasi wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi manzi.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands, depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I love music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like...
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Welcome back to the morning drift. Let's then talk about this, what Kenyans are talking about online, before we step out of the studio today on the 17th of March 2026. Good. All right. Now, if you've received Nyota Fund, I do hope that you received the second tranche of the 22,000 shillings, because you're supposed to receive 50,000 shillings. All right. Now, what has never been revealed for a very long time is the source of this Nyota Fund, and the government has been quite silent on it. Now, we do know the president is in the western parts of the country, and it was flanked by CS cooperatives, that is Wycliffe Oparanya, and Oparanya, for the very first time, revealed that indeed this is a loan that we have to take. But I want you to listen keenly. The last part of it is when he's telling you it's you and I who are going to pay this money. Let's take a look at this clip and then come back and talk about it.
Nimesikia mwanasiasa mwingine akisema hii project ya Nyota ati ni ya World Bank. Ati hii project si ya Kenya, ni ya World Bank. Nataka niambie wananchi, nyinyi mko hapa. Hii project ya Nyota ambaye rais ameleta ni ya serikali ya Kenya. Tulipata mkopo kutoka World Bank na Wakenya watalipa hiyo mkopo. Hiyo ni mali yenu, mshikilie hapo, tuendelee mbele.
All right. Now you hear that is the money that you have to pay. That conclusion right there is what is very important for you this morning. If you've been doubting about the source of Nyota Fund and where the government was going to get the money to pay back. So tulichukua loan, watu wakule bwana, tuwasaidie kulipa. Yeah? So should we also ask the government how they're making sure that hii loan yetu tunalipa inatumika vile inafaa kutumika? Because every time you take a loan in place of somebody, it's like you're putting me as your guarantor. So I have to make sure that that loan or that money that you're using it for that specific purpose, isn't it? All right? Now, let me just read a couple of responses here from you this morning. The president has reiterated, this is from SPAN, who's saying the president has reiterated the same before. Like, what's new here? He's not done it before. He's not told you that you're going to pay. SPAN, all right? All right, this is William Kinuthi saying, serikali memaliza mpaka World Bank. Ojuku who's saying, sasa who dressed these people in yellow? Actually, if you look at everybody right there, they were dressed in yellow colors as well. Good, now you do know. It's a loan that we have to pick up and then get to pay on behalf of the guys who are using that Nyota Fund. Now, if you live in the world, you also do know that Israel and the USA are waging a war against Iran. Now, what Iran is doing is just targeting all the allies of the USA. There's a clip here that you're going to watch this morning that Iran, targeted the Dubai International Airport. It struck so close to the point that for a couple of hours yesterday, the services at Dubai International Airport were cut short. They thought Iran was actually coming for them. And this oil reservoir that they bombed was quite close to the Dubai International Airport that got people worried. Let's take a look at it and then come see exactly what netizens are talking about.
Oh my God! 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 Oh my God!
Let's take a look at it. If the fire that you've seen there happened on 16th, 2026. Now, a drone strike that hit a fuel tank near Dubai International Airport amid regional conflict, causing the huge flames and smoke that you're witnessing in that particular clip. The thing is, Dubai did not announce any injuries, all right, and they contained the blaze, and flights later resumed in the course of that day. Now, let me just read a couple of comments here from majority of Kenyans and international guys are watching this as well. This is Yat, also in kind of world how chaos and reduced impulse can light up a skyline. They're talking about how Trump ego is lighting up the skyline in Dubai as well. On top of this as well, there is conversations of how Iran is targeting fuel reserves across the world. It's as if they want to drive up the fuel costs across the world. Now, what you have to know is as well, the response of this particular news is that, yes, we might not be feeling the impact of the fuel prices here locally, but if this continues for quite some good time, because it's just been 3 days after EPRA released the fuel prices for the next 1 month, then we're going to start feeling up Brent. We might have a readjustment of these prices across the world, because for the very first time since 2022, the price of fuel for a barrel has shot up to $150 US. That's the biggest margin that we've seen since 2022. Whether we're going to feel it here locally, we do not know whether our reserves can last that long. Since we adjust our prices monthly, I do not know whether as a country we are going to weather this effect, if indeed the Iran-Israel-USA conflict continues. Now, the last one is one by Musalia Mudavadi, and this on the sidelines of them revealing that they are not going to repatriate those Kenyans who are stuck in Russian war because there was no contract between those two nations. So that's the country. So that's the country saying that if you are in Russia and you're fighting in that Russia-Ukraine war, then you are on your own devices, because those two nations are not going to repatriate you. So find your way, because there is no way. There's nowhere you are told that you're going to fight that war. Let's take a look at what he was talking about on the sidelines of us having a common currency as an African nation. Not the very first time that we've had a Kenyan leader or an African leader talk about these particular issues. Let's listen in.
It would be ideal if we had a common currency, but it will take much longer to achieve that because, as we said, we have 54 countries, different levels of development and so forth. But using technology, we can accelerate the level of integration and allow them to trade much more easily. And that is what I think we should be going for, as opposed to maybe just sticking on the traditional ways. Because a currency, in my view, is not an identity in terms of your sovereignty. A currency is really a medium of transacting. And I think this is the message that we need to get across, that what we want is to enhance more transactions on the African continent, and we are not challenging the sovereignty of these states. So this is the message that we need to keep pumping. I would also just want to quickly say that in terms of infrastructure, it is clear we are not going to get the kind of aid that we used to get. So as a continent, we must embrace the private sector, the partnership with the private sector. We should not look at the private sector both in-house, that is in the country, in the continent, and external private sector as an opposition. These are partners coming in to work with us to be able to grow our economies. And therefore, in Kenya, for instance,
just a couple of Kenyans that are weighing in on this particular issue. That is Musalia Mudavadi right there, talking on a variety of issues, including common currency, and talking about how Kenya, or Africa, sorry, is rising as well. All right, just two comments before we step out of the studio this morning. I've got one here. Samoga, who's saying, good work, Sam Mudavadi, keep it up, and turn back not. That's what is going on. This is Kiprotich, who's saying, wewe ni kushiba tu. Hey, sasa aje, sasa Kiprotich, after your CS is representing you correctly. All right. The last comment that I have here on this particular one is from Kiplagat, who's saying, Africa is indeed rising. Great to see you. Partnerships like this will drive our continent forward. What is the key takeaway from these discussions? Bele pamoja. Finally, Anyole, who's saying Africans will rise when demons like you have been wiped out, you are the greatest enemy of African development agenda, all right? Greedy leaders like you, Musalia Mudavadi, and crooked, corrupt leaders stealing and killing the nation's future. I mean, it's your say. That's what democracy in conversations is really. On the morning drifts, that's exactly what we have for you this morning. Thank you very much for keeping us company from the time we opened the show up to where we are right now. Take us online and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. I'll see you tomorrow for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.